tasks and projects are going to be talked about by Suzanne Foss on my right, and she's going to show you a demo of it rather than me talk about it anymore. Suzanne and Vinay. Where's Vinay? Oh, he's coming. OK.
Thanks, Jack. ArcGISPro is a fast, modern, and powerful application that can transform the way our GIS community solves problems. We're going to use Pro to look at different problems faced by local communities, in this case, Sonoma County, California. Now, to get started, what are some of the things we need from any software to solve a problem? Usability and performance. And the first thing you'll notice about Pro is its modern ribbon interface. It gives you access to familiar tools like swapping base maps, adding data, searching, and bookmarks. Tools like analysis and editing are organized into tabs, and your windows are dockable so you can show or hide them as needed. Your layer tools appear contextually, so you can easily change things like symbology, data schema, and labeling. Let's adjust these road labels in downtown Santa Rosa. You can easily adjust the font, the size, the weight, and even the placement of your labels with instant visual feedback. This simple, modern interface is designed so that you can work more quickly than ever before. And speaking of speed, Pro gives you the performance you've been asking for. It's a powerful app with a great display. You can see how quickly all these different layers are drawing on the fly. And this brand new display engine also supports 3D environments. You can work with multiple maps in your project, whether 2D or 3D, global or local. Let's take a tour of Sonoma County wine country. Pro takes advantage of your GPU so you can rapidly roam and explore your maps. The application also helps you be more productive because it doesn't make you wait. The UI stays responsive even if a map is drawing because it's a 64-bit multi-threaded application. And you can also operate in 2D and 3D at the same time, either monitoring different areas or linking your maps to get multiple perspectives of your study area. Overall, the application, the new display framework, means that the app takes advantage of your powerful desktop computers so that you can rapidly roam and explore your maps. Now let's dig a little bit deeper and see how Pro can transform your 3D workflows. This is a relatively simple scene with imagery and terrain, but with Pro, you can actually transform your 2D data into 3D. So let's add some data. The project pane in Pro gives you access to all the resources in your project, so things like maps, toolboxes, servers, and databases. I'm bringing in some 2D building footprints in Sonoma. Many local communities have data sets like this as opposed to detailed 3D building models. But with Pro, you can actually transform this kind of data into 3D by using a 3D symbol. We're going to use a symbol that connects to data attributes to render instant 3D features. In this particular case, the symbol that we're using drapes realistic building textures across our footprints. And it uses data properties like building height, number of floors, the building usage type, like residential versus commercial, and it renders a realistic-looking town scene over Sonoma, California, on the fly, dynamically. And this isn't the only way to create 3D features. With preset layers, you get a gallery of pre-authored common types of layers that help you make great-looking scenes. Let's add some trees to Sonoma. We're going to bring in some 2D tree data. And preset layers also render features based on data properties. So in this case, things like the type of tree, the tree height, the crown width, and so forth. In the future, we'll be providing this type of layer as well as streets, buildings, water, ground, and other preset layers so that you can easily get started making your scenes. This is an entirely new approach to 3D authoring. And there's endless opportunities for bringing 3D design into your workflows. And Pro supports 2D, 3D editing. Let's say we have a newly constructed building. You can edit and digitize features in either mode. So in this case, I'm going to capture this building over top of imagery. The editing tools are organized into their own tab. And you don't have to start an edit session. You can simply begin creating features off the templates that are already in your map. And as you create features, they'll render automatically in each of your concurrent views. So in this case, this new building will render in the 3D view according to the properties of that symbol. And as you adjust attributes, your features will update automatically. So here I'm putting in the accurate height of the building, about 15 feet. And the 3D symbol will re-render that building and display it at its accurate height. This is real-time 3D QA/QC. So with these tools, Pro offers you exciting opportunities to render, design, and solve problems in 3D environments. Now we're looking at urban visualization and design. Next, let's use Pro for analysis and look at a social issue that affects many communities: nutrition and obesity. This map shows childhood obesity in Sonoma County, the percent of fifth graders that have unhealthy body composition. So blue locations are schools with healthy students, and the larger red locations mean students are less fit. Pro gives you easy ways to explore trends in your data. Here I'm using a bookmark to set the data to the beginning of our time range in 2003. That's right, in Pro, bookmarks capture space and time. Now let's explore the variance in this data with the time slider. For much of the decade, obesity was fairly low. You see smaller points, fainter colors. But beginning in 2011, watch the increase in orange and red features. This means more schools are reporting high amounts of unhealthy students. Now, to fight these kinds of trends, communities need to encourage and promote healthy diets. In California, the CalFresh program provides a way for disadvantaged families to purchase food. This map shows participating businesses like grocery stores. Let's evaluate the effectiveness of this program. First, we need to identify which of these businesses offer healthy food. And Pro gives you a simple Excel-like experience for working with your data. I'm going to add a field to flag which of the vendors offer healthy food options. So these would be things like farmers markets as opposed to gas stations, for example. Now that we've really easily added that field, we can calculate it. The geoprocessing pane in Pro gives you one-stop access for all of your processing needs. Both running tools and your tool history are all in one place. Running this tool, we can now assess which of these vendors offer healthy food and filter down the data to really what we're looking for. Next, how accessible are these vendors to the people that need them? We want to bring in some data on the people who actually use CalFresh. Pro lets you work with local data, but also online content from your organization. I'm going to search ArcGIS Online for CalFresh resources and bring in a map service of the people who received food assistance last year. So now we can see supply in conjunction with demand. But what we want to do is analyze the accessibility to these individuals. And the Analysis tab in Pro gives you access to the tools you need. You can find tools, you can use Python to automate Pro, you can grab one of your favorite tools from the gallery, and use extensions like Network Analyst. We're going to run a service area analysis against the health food vendors and use walking distance to quantify access for disadvantaged participants. The results show walkable areas to nutritious food options. So areas not covered in green are where officials may want to recruit farmers markets and health grocers to broaden options for healthy food. So here we understand availability. But what does this program actually support and provide the healthy food options where people need it the most? Are people actually using this program where it's needed? We want to analyze where participation is low in areas with high obesity. And Pro supports your familiar analysis and modeling workflows. You'll be able to use your geoprocessing models back and forth between your desktop apps. You can open your models in Pro, make adjustments to them, add them to the gallery, and run them. This analysis compares the number of CalFresh participants to the number eligible and summarizes that information in the areas that are seeing higher obesity. So in other words, the areas in darkest red are where participation is low, and officials can use this information to prioritize nutrition outreach. As GIS users, you're the architects in solving problems with spatial analysis, and Pro's designed so that you can answer questions at the speed of your ideas. Now, many problems faced by local communities require processing data sources like imagery and LiDAR. Next, my colleague Vinay is going to show us how we can use Pro's imagery tools to address economic and conservation issues in the county. Vinay?
Thanks, Suzanne. So imagery in Pro is easy and familiar. You're looking at an image service that's serving out a terabyte of imagery that's being dynamically mosaicked and processed on the fly. The red grids indicates the footprints of those images. Now, as I zoom in tighter, each one of those images contain a tremendous level of detail. Imagery layers, like all other layers in ArcGISPro, are contextual. So selecting an image layer activates the Appearance tab and the Data tab. The Appearance tab, it gives me access to various tools to improve visualization of my imagery, such as I could change my contrast, brightness, or modify my gamma. So let's switch to another data set. Here's worldview imagery, which we've acquired from Digital Globe. The Data tab is designed to improve your user experience when working with imagery layers. So for instance, I could hit the attribute table. It lets me review my meta information. Or I could simply hit the sort options on the Data tab, and I could dynamically mosaic my imagery based on those attributes. So currently, I'm looking at the most recent image. With a click of a button, I could switch to least cloud cover or cloud-free imagery. Let's navigate over to Spring Valley. Imagery layers are typically served out with multiple derived products. One click, and you have access to all of those information products. So for instance, I could switch from True Color to Enhanced Agriculture with a click of a button, where the higher saturation greens correlate to nitrogen-rich vegetation. So here's a LiDAR data set. LiDAR is a rich 3D data source. It's used to extract features such as streams and vegetation heights. Your favorite image processing functions are now easily accessible using the raster processing pane. There are over 40 different functions. So you can process your imagery on the fly using out-of-the-box functions such as hillshade in this case. Or you could simply chain functions together, write your own custom function chain. Like in this case, I'm filtering out all elevation below 150 feet.
So as you can see, there's a lot of powerful tools here. Next, let's see how we can combine some of these tools to address a county issue. In this case, identifying impervious surfaces.
So you can, using ArcGISPro, you can leverage your county's imagery stores and GIS data and create useful information maps. Let me show you how easy it is to create an impervious surface map using Pro. So to start with, this is the city of Sonora. Here's a worldview image. We segment our imagery using our newly developed segmentation tools. The segmentation alongside training sites, we can now classify our imagery on the fly, which clearly delineates, clearly captures agriculture, bare ground, water, and 5 other unique classes. We'll go on ahead, run this geoprocessing tool, which essentially overlays my parcel data on my classified image, and it gives me a quantitative assessment of my impervious surfaces on a per parcel basis. So for instance, this parcel is 85% impervious. So what do we have? We have this information product, a parcel map with rich surface metrics.
Thanks, Vinay. Understanding impervious surfaces helps us manage water in urban areas. But we also need a product to manage water and health in riparian areas, which are the ecosystems around streams. So next, Vinay is going to show us how we can automate complex workflows like this using tasks.
Right, tasks. Tasks is the next big thing. ArcGISPro has introduced this concept called task. It lets you share and model your workflows. So let me show you. You hit the View tab, invoke the task pane. Here's a task that I've authored. It's got 8 easy steps enabling anybody to perform this workflow. Tasks essentially encapsulates geoprocessing tools, instructions, raster functions, everything you need to complete your workflow. So let's step through this. Step 1, generate streams using LiDAR. There's a set of instructions in here, and it calculates my streams for me automatically. Step 2, calculate stream slopes using geoprocessing tools. Next, it guides me to my area of interest so that I could perform basic QA. And you'll see step by step how tasks is guiding me through my process so that I could create a product. It loads my LiDAR data so that I could delineate vegetation. It even lets me run raster functions. I've just delineated vegetation heights. I can go on ahead and calculate health of the vegetation. And in this last step, task is guiding me through the process to characterize vegetation health along riparian corridors per management zone basis. What's interesting is this is also a way to share and capture your tradecraft. So this right here, tasks, is one of the many improvements and features in ArcGISPro that's going to transform and revolutionize the way you work. Back to you, Suzanne.
Okay. Now, to be able to use your information products to support decisions, you need to be able to share them. And Pro gives you effective ways to create and share your authoritative content. You can share your work as packages, web maps, web layers, even 3D web scenes, making your work available across browsers, mobile devices, and back in your desktop apps. And Pro is a great tool for making map products. And not just one, but as many as you need. You've asked us for multiple layouts, and in Pro, you've got them. Layouts on any combination of maps in your project, including your 3D scenes. As GIS users, we solve problems. That's the core of what we do. And Pro gives you fast, modern, and powerful tools that support your current workflows and transform the way you do GIS. Thank you.
Amazing. It's great. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you, Suzanne. Amazing, isn't it? It's more than multiple windows. I mean, it's going to transform your work in so many ways.